Hari Om Tat Sat. I would like to welcome Sri Gupta Prabhuji, who has been our mentor for a long time in helping us to learn many stutis and slokas of the parampara to which we belong to. The entire Bihar School of Yoga, also part of the Shankaracharya parampara, and he is our Guru Bhai, eldest Guru Bhai from Chinmaya Mission, and he has been serving, and he will continue to serve all the society with his Gnanadhara, which he has borrowed from his Guru Ji, that is Chinmayananda Saraswati Maharaj. And I'm very happy to mention that he is a direct disciple of Swami Chinmayananda Saraswati Maharaj, and he has served in the uh, Chinmaya Mission as a secretary for many years, and he has been serving us, which we have been part of it.
Hari Om. I do not know how far I'll be able to do justice to recollect my thoughts on the great personality like Bhagavad Pada, Jagat Guru, Adi Shankaracharya, but still I try my level best to communicate. If there are any shortcomings, please excuse me, and I try my level best. Let me offer my prayers first to Shankara Bhagavad Pada and to my Guru and श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. श्री सद्गुरु चिन्मयानंद महाराज की जय. If at all we are enjoying the benefit of our culture today, two people we have to pray our pranams and remember them eternally. One is Vedavyasa Maharshi, the other one is Adi Shankaracharya. When the entire knowledge was scattered all over, it is Vedavyasa Maharshi collected and codified in the form of Vedas. Then again in the 8th century, every culture will have ups and downs. When it had reached the lowest possible level, Bhagavan Shankara came up. And it was not an easy atmosphere in which anybody could attempt. In fact, the whole Hindu society was divided into number of sects, groups, each championing their own different views and intellectually arguing. Nobody would understand and convince or accept the other's view. And there was very much steeply steeped in the ritualism, and in particular the animal sacrifices. And that was the situation in which Bhagavan Shankara came up. And at that time, when the society and the Hindu culture was not understood properly, and it was so much disintegrated, that is the time that Buddhism took up a step, and their loving and compassionate embrace of the people made many people of the Hindu religion to jump over that. And even Buddhism also started decaying due to these asadvasis. And at that time, Bhagavan Shankara in the 8th century, he appeared. And it was not an easy joke to bring the entire Hindu folk under single umbrella. It was a Herculean task. And in that situation, Bhagavan Shankara appeared and revived our culture. Imagine, only in a span of 32 years, he could do so much. Even 32 janmas are not sufficient for us even to understand the works of Shankara, leave alone. So to understand also, it is not possible for any human. Such a colossal contribution he has made, it is humanly impossible. And that way, when you see, he is not an individual, he is not, I can say that he is an institution, nor I will not be at fault if I say he was the Avatara Purusha of Lord Shiva himself, descended on our, uh, on our Bharat to revive the culture. Let us try to look into his life. He was born to a pious parents, Shivaguru and Aryamba, in Kaladi, a small village in Kerala. And this pious couple, they were childless for quite some time, and they did lot of penances and lot of pujas to their family deity, Vadakanath Shiva at Trishur. They went there and they spent one day night praying to the Lord to bless them with a child. That night, when they were staying in the temple, both of them got a dream. In that dream, the Lord Shiva appeared and blessed them that they are going to have a child. But choice was given whether to have a short-lived, a genius boy, or a dull-headed for a longer life. Unanimously, both mother and father, that is Shivaguru and Aryamba, they preferred the earlier one. That is, though it is a short-lived, doesn't matter, but we wanted a genius and a real blessing to the society. So that's how and when they woke up, when they exchanged, they found that unanimously both of them chose the same, the first alternative, to have a boy of a short lifespan of 16 years, but a genius who could be a blessing to the entire society. And he was born on Shukla Panchami in Vaishaka month, when the planets were in the exalted position, Ucha Sthiti they call it. And when he was born, there were a lot of divine marks on this child. And astrologers and great people, they looked at his horoscope and also looked at the child. He said it's a divine child. And this child is going to have a very bright future. Very bright future. They predicted it. Then as the child grew, imagine at the age of 3 years, he was initiated into the formal education by his father at home. And he started mastering all the books that father had collected from age 3. And his father thought he will perform Upanayana ceremony at 5 years and send him to Gurukula. But the fate decided otherwise. The father died at the age of when the child was 3 years. And 2 years in 2 years span, he mastered all the books that his father had collected. And then with the help of the relatives, mother performed this Upanayana ceremony and sent him to Gurukula. When he was 5 years old, he was sent to Gurukula. Imagine at the age of 6, he composed a book on Bala Bodha Sangraham at the age of 6. And that was a riddle for the scholars of that time. Imagine his genius. And in the Gurukula days, he used to go around and collect the bhikshas. And it so happened one day when he went to an old Brahmin lady house, and looking at this lustrous boy, she thought the very Shankara himself has come down to the bhiksha here. And she wanted to offer, she could not get anything in the house. With the tears in her eyes, she came and said, "Oh, my dear child, I am not able to give you." Then Shankara said, "No, go and look. There will be something in the house." In a jar, she found one amla, and she brought it and gave it to this amla. Hesitantly, she placed in the hands of Shankara. Looking at that, Shankara, in a tearful voice, he composed Kanakadara Stotram, requesting Mother Goddess Lakshmi to bless that house. Even today, in the outskirts of Kaladi, you will find that house which is named as Kanakadara Stotram, Kanakadara. So that was his genius. At the age of 6, he could first Stotram, he composed Kanakadara Stotram. Then by 8, that is in the span of 3 years, he completely mastered all the scriptures. Imagine Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, everything he mastered in the matter of 3 years, and returned home at the age of 8. When he returned home at the age of 8, every day he used to see his mother going to the river and coming out tired from the river. Then he thought one day, he prayed to the Lord and said he wanted the Purna river to go near his house. And the Lord blessed him. The river changed its direction and went near his house so that his mother need not walk a long distance to get into the river. That was his power at that time. At that time, his genius Shankara, the information had spread entire Kerala. And one king Rajashekara, who was ruling the country at that moment, came to know, and he met Bhagwan Shankara. And he said, he had, with great hesitation, he said, I have composed 3 books. I wanted you to go through and say yes. Bhagwan Shankara, he just scanned through and he said, really good, continue your this work. He said and sent him. Then when he had, at the age of 8, when he was at home, he had a great idea to serve the society and become a sannyasi. When he expressed his desire, his mother could not accept only child. She said no, because without mother's permission, they cannot take sannyas. Therefore, one day when he was bathing in the river, mother was standing on the bank. At that time, a crocodile caught his feet, and he prayed to mother, Mother, I am going to die now because the crocodile has caught me. At least now you bless me the permission to get sannyas, so that at least at the time of death, let me become sannyas. Mother reluctantly agreed. The moment he chanted the prayers and the mantras and took up sannyas, the crocodile left him and he came out. So he had to enters the responsibility of mothers to his relatives and go in search of Guru, that is Govinda Bhagavad Pada. He was at Narmada. On the banks of Narmada, he was living in a cave. He heard about him, and also in his dream, he got the information. He got the message that he should go to Bhagavan Govinda Pada. Then he walked from Kaladi to Narmada. He walked 2 months. Daily morning he used to walk, take the bhiksha. Afternoon he used to take rest in the hot sun and proceed walk. 2 months walking he made, and he could reach Narmada. It so happened one day while he was going and he had to rest in a place. When he was resting in a place, he saw one strange incident. If a snake, a cobra, with its hood, it was giving the shade to a frog. In fact, cobra and frog, they are inimical by birth. And he said, this is impossible unless there is a Mahatma living in this place. On inquiry, he found out Rishishringa Muni had done the tapas there in that place. And it was so powerful, nobody, not even animals, could have negative tendencies. Then he thought for a moment, if at all I start a mutt or a mission or a ashram, this is the right place to start. He made a sankalpa and proceeded and reached. When he reached, he met his guru, and he asked Guru asked him to introduce himself. You know, his introduction, at least we say that I am so and so, son of so and so. He gave Dasa Sloki, 10 slokas he gave out, saying that I am that Supreme Brahman, and that's Dasa Sloki is even difficult for the greatest philosopher to understand. Such a great, that way he introduced himself. From that, Guru could measure the depth and greatness of Shankara, and he allowed him to continue and have his guidance. It so happened one day, while Guru was in meditation, that Narmada river was in floods. It had almost entered the cave, and Guru was in meditation. They didn't want to disturb. All the Sishyas, disciples, they tried their level best to stop it, but nobody could stop it. But Bhagwan Shankara, he put his Kamandalu there and said, Hey Narmada, mother, you should not enter the cave. And the river stopped at that Kamandalu. And on that, after that, when his guru came out of the meditation and learned about this, and he was surprised to see the greatness of Shankara, and he asked him to compose the commentary, write the commentary on Vishnu Sahasranama. First commentary he wrote on Vishnu Sahasranama, the first word itself, seeing that his guru did not go through the entire thing. The first word commentary itself, he measured the depth and greatness of his disciple. Then afterwards, when Shankara was 12 years old, then he wanted to spend his life in the meditation. Then his guru said, no, you have come to this world for a different purpose. Go to Kashi, and there you will get the message from the Lord what you should do and how to proceed about. He went to Kashi and he tried to champion his ideas on Advaita philosophy. In fact, to persuade the Pandits in Kashi, it's a very difficult task. With great difficulty, he mastered and he did it, and he got the appreciation from all the learned people in Kashi. And at that time, one person from South, Sanandana, he was a Chola Raj, a king. He had come there and he became his disciple. And one day when he went to Ganges to take bath, while returning, he found one Chandala was coming in the opposite direction. Then when looking at him, he said, Gacha, Gacha, move, move. Then the Chandala asked, do you want this body which is made up of the 5 elements to go away? Because the same body is made up of yours also is 5 elements. Or the Lord who is present inside, which is the same inside you also, which one you want to move? Then he realized his folly and prostrated to him. He said, Lord Vishwanatha himself had come in the form of Chandala. And that time he composed the greatest poem, Manisha Panchakam, the greatest lyrical poetry that you can think of. And he got the message from the Lord that he has to proceed to Badrika Ashrama and write the commentaries on all our scriptures. It so happened with the help of his, along with his, disciples, including Sanandana, he proceeded to Badrika Ashrama. And there, what he did was, in that Alkananda river, the Lord Badri Narayana was there. He retrieved that idol and established a temple there. And he started the puja, and he said the puja to be conducted as per the traditional Nambudri way in Kerala time. Even today it is done in the same way. Then it so happened, 4 years he continued writing the Bhashyas on Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras. It so happened one strange incident happened. When strange incident, one old man used to come every day and listen to his commentaries, all that. Then Shankara was surprised. Who is that old Brahmin who is coming every day? Then one day he prostrated to him and said, you reveal your identity. Then that old man disguised himself and came out as Vedavyasa. Himself wanted to know how Bhagavan Shankara is writing the commentaries. Then Bhagavan Shankara was so much pleased that Vedavyasa himself came to listen to his commentaries. Then he said, I have done my duty. He had reached 16 years. He said, I have completed my lifetime and I am going to fold up my. Then Vedavyasa said, no, I am going to give you another 16 years. Now, it is your duty to do the prachar of our culture. Go down to the plains and spread the message. Starting from Kumarila Bhatta, he mentioned Vedavyasa. Kumarila Bhatta is a person who is known for famous in his ritualistic practices. He was very powerful and nobody could win over him. So he went to Prayag from there with his disciples. Imagine that time 16 years, another 16 years he did the Shankara Digvijayam. Shankara Digvijayam is going round every village, every place in the entire country and spreading the message, bringing back the people to our fold, convincing them and establishing the standard procedure of worship, puja, everything. So he went to Prayag and he wanted to meet Kumarila Bhattu. Kumarila Bhatta, what happened was, he was on the funeral pyre on self-immolation. Since he had committed a mistake, he could not bear it. He wanted to die. Therefore, he said, instead of me, you go to my disciple Mandana Mishra and argue with him. And you can win over. If you can win over, you can, you can continue. He inquired about Mandana Mishra's house. They said, people said there is a big gate, a house which has got a big gate. You can enter there. And one day, 2 days he went, he found the gate was locked and he was inside. Mandana Mishra was inside. Therefore, what he did was, Shankara, with his yogic power, he went himself into the house, though it was locked. And Mandana Mishra was surprised to see Shankara coming inside, though the house was locked. And that day was his father's ceremony. He was preparing for that. He was so angry and he argued with Shankara. And Shankara coolly answered him. Then he said, anyway, you have come on my father's ceremony, have the Bhiksha. He said, no, I have not come for this Bhiksha. I have come for Vada Bhiksha with you. Then next day they started their Vada, the discussions they had, arguments. And they wanted a judge. His wife, Ubhaya Bharati, she is considered to be the avatar of Mother Saraswati. She agreed to be the judge for their their discussions. It so happened, it continued for 18 days, and she said she was busy with her household work, but she did one thing to test. She did one thing to test. She said, I am going to put 2 garlands on you, that is Mandana Mishra and Shankara. I'll be busy with mine. Whichever the garland fades, that person is supposed to have been lost in the arguments. Because when in the arguments, when the heat is generated, it will fade away. That shows his argument was not perfect, is not cool enough to think and do it. So she said that. Finally, it so happened that he won over Mandana Mishra. But Ubhaya Bharati said, since I am also part of him, you should win over me. And the question she asked about Gruhastha-ashrama, Shankara could not answer. He took 15 days and said that I will come back. He went into the forest. There was a dead king's body. He did the Parakaya Pravesha and went to the kingdom. And in the royal palace, he learned the entire Gruhastha-ashrama's dharma and came out and argued with her. And finally, he was declared won in the arguments. The betting was, whoever loses, they have to give up their ashrama. If Shankara were to lose, he has to get married. If Mandana Mishra loses, he has to become a brahmachari or sannyasi and go with Shankara. So since Mandana Mishra lost, he became the second disciple, that is Sureshwaracharya. And they went down when they went to the down south, first they entered this Srisailam forest. There lot of Kapalikas were there, and one day one Kapalika who was in charge, who was a very ferocious person, met Shankara in his private and took the promise from him that he wanted to offer Shankara to the goddess Kali. And he said that Shankara should come alone in the night. So Shankara went there. But somehow Sureshwaracharya got this and followed Shankara. When he went there, and when he was about to offer Shankara to goddess Kali, Sureshwaracharya jumped and he invoked the grace of Mother Kali, and he chanted this Lakshmi Narasimha Stotram that was composed at that time and saved Bhagavan Shankara from the sacrifices of a Kapalika. Then from there, they went to, Gokarna, they came to Karnataka. When I say Gokarna, that means to say all throughout they went by the walk, and they visited every village on the way and met the people and visited the temples, every village. So that means to say so many details of those villages I cannot mention. Only the main places I see. Where he went to the Gokarna, And in the Gokarneshwara temple, he performed the rituals and they had discussions with the people. And from there, he went to Mookambika, Kollur Mookambika. There, one mother had brought her son died, and Shankara revived him. So that's how somehow this message went round all the villages. And one village, Sriveli, there Shankara was, one boy was there. He was the son of Mr. Prabhakara. And right, he was 12 years old. Right from the birth, he had not spoken even a single word. So they thought he is a dumb person. And he thought, let me offer or give this dumb son to Shankara. And when they came there, and Shankara asked a question, in reply, 12 shlokas he gave, which is known as Hasta Malaka Stotra. He was a greatest Gnani. He was a greatest Gnani. Then Shankara said, you remember when he was a child, you went to take a bath in a river, and you made that child to remain near a sannyasi who was on the banks and went for the bath. By the time you returned, the child had got drowned. And when you were praying and you were crying, that Mahatma who was on the banks, he left his body and entered this this child's body. He is that great Mahatma, and he will be of no use. Let him come with me. So he was the third disciple, Hasta Malaka. Then from there he came to Sringeri. That is the place where he had seen that cobra and the frog, that Rishi Shringamuni. There he thought, let me start the mutt. And all the preparations were there, all the preparations were made, and the Raja who was in charge also helped him at that. At that time, he had a message, he had a call from his mother, because he had promised his mother that he will be at her bedside when at the last moment. So he heard the call from mother that she was on the deathbed. Immediately with his yogic powers, he disappeared and materialized at Kaladi. And when he was there at mother's side, he thought his mother is a devotee of Shiva, and he invoked Lord Shiva and he composed Shiva Bhujanga Stotram. But looking at the Shiva and the Shiva's, the followers, mother got frightened, and mother said, no, 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 Shiva is not my Lord. Vishnu is that. Then he composed Vishnu Bhujanga Stotram, and Vishnu appeared and blessed her, and she had the last breath. And when she died, he wanted her, cremation was to be performed. But the entire Brahmin community there, they did not permit him. They said a sannyasi cannot perform. So he took himself, the body, into the backyard of the house with the raw banana trees which are there in their house. With that, he invoked the yogic fire and then did the cremation of his mother, and at that time he composed Matru Panchakam, the 5 shlokas. What exactly the true mother is. In fact, when Matru Panchakam I heard, I am reminded of an incident. Our Gurudev used to have during this Dasara, for all our Barley Vihar children, Matru Puja. That is, children will come and offer the puja to their mothers during the Dasara. And he wanted this Matru Panchakam to be chanted. And he requested one of our renowned Carnatic music devotee to set the tune. But she came and said, Swamiji, I tried my level best. Only the sad tune comes to this. No, therefore I cannot compose any tune. Then Gurudev said, Shankara's composition is such. It is even in this, no, it will not fall under any raga other than sad tune. Therefore, he dropped that idea. So such powerful, those 5 shlokas, really, if a person were to understand what the real mother is. Then by the time all his disciples and others came from Sringeri and reached Kaladi, from there they went to Rameshwaram. En route, they visited various villages and temples. From Rameshwaram, they came to Srirangam. There was a lot of fight between the Vaishnavite communities, and he had to resolve and make the unity, bring the unity amongst them. And from there, he proceeded to Kanchi. Kanchi is supposed to be the famous place where, see, other than his four mutts, there is one mutt in Kanchi that is supposed to be most important, because that is the place. Everywhere you have either Shiva as a prominent lord or Vishnu. But Kanchi is a place where Shiva, and there are two Kanchis, Shiva Kanchi and also Vishnu Kanchi is there. Therefore, both the temples are very prominent. Therefore, Bhagavan Shankara visited there, and he Sri Chakra he installed, and Mother Kamakshi is installed, and the temple was also built. From there he went to Tirupati. Tirupati is the place also. There he blessed the Tirupati idol with the yantra aspect of it, and made today the Tirupati is so powerful because of the blessings of Adi Shankaracharya. From there he went to Rajamandri to Puri on the banks of Bay of Bengal. There he established another mutt there. That is another place. From there he went to Prayag, and from Prayag he went to one second. Sometimes. Then from Prayag he went to Kashi. In the Kashi, this time second visit when he made, there was another incident which all of us know that. One day while he was going with his disciples for a bath in Ganges, one old man was memorizing the grammar rules. There, Bhagavan Shankara, he could not contain his laugh. This man is on the deathbed, but now he is practicing grammar rules. Then he composed this Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Modamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrun Karane. So 11 shlokas he gave, and 14 Sishyas were there. Each one gave one shloka, and at the end, Shankara blessed with 4. Therefore, it became 31 shlokas, a composition, a lilting tunes, a guidance to the grihasthas as to how they should conduct, what should be their aim in life. Then from there, Bhagavan Shankara, he went to the west. There he visited Ujjaini, Dwarka, then Somanath, and from there he went to Kashmir. In the Kashmir, Sarvagna Pita is there, where he is considered a Sharada Pita is there. A person who argues and wins over the arguments with the Pandits there, he is considered to be the Sarvagna. And he is made to ascend and sit on that. He will be given that title that he is the Sarvagna. So his disciples forced him that he should accept the challenge of the Pandits there. He argued with them and he conquered them in the debate, and he became the Sarvagna. He ascended the Sarvagna Pita there. Then from there, he went to Assam. In the Assam, there were a tantric group was there. They could not bear the Shankaras trying to bring our culture and unite them. And a tantric, one person who was supposed to be Abhinava Gupta, he was very famous there. He could not bear Shankara doing his, bringing all the sects into one unit. Therefore, he played certain black magic on Shankara. Shankara's health started deteriorating. There, Sureshwaracharya, Padmapada, he saw this and he returned that. Shankara regained the health. And from there, he went to there. Shankara, he composed one work, Prapanchasaram, on Tantra. On Tantra, he gave one beautiful work on Prapanchasaram. From there, he went to Nepal. In Nepal, the Pashupatinath temple, because of the Buddhists, it was, many of the people were influenced by Buddhism. They had neglected. So therefore, he revived the Pashupatinath temple. There also the pujas are done as per the Nambudri traditional Kerala type. He initiated and returned to Badrika Ashram. And from Badrika Ashram, he went to Kedarnath and he decided He had completed 16 years. Therefore, he decided he wanted to fold up his mortal coil and drop. And all the four disciples and one king, Sudhanva, he was also with him. They were all in tears. They could not bear that idea of, the master going away. Then they asked. Then Bhagavan gave all the instructions and he dictated one work, Maha Anushasanam, that how to conduct the mutts and protect our culture, the Vedas. He gave the instructions to all the disciples. That was noted, all the dictations was noted by the king himself, and the book was brought out. And when Bhagavan Shankara was in meditation, what happened? He just merged himself into the Supreme, and his body got dissolved into the five elements. So by that time, he had reached 32. So exactly 16 years granted by Vedavyasa. Those 16 years he went round the entire country almost 2 times. Imagine, going by foot, even with our modern facilities and modern communications, we will not be able to do what he has done with that work. And colossal work in 16 years to do and bring the entire Hindu community under one umbrella, and also winning over the people who had gone over to Buddhism and bring back them to our culture. It was a colossal task. It is really humanly impossible, such a task, a person of that stature. So therefore, it is nothing but Lord Shiva himself taking the avatar of Adi Shankaracharya who did this. That's why we say, if at all we remember anybody in our culture, first is Vedavyasa, second is Adi Shankaracharya. Our Gurudev used to say that it is not how many years you live, how much of life you put into the years is more important. He said when he was about to talk on Shankara, he said, even Shankara himself cannot talk on Shankara. That is the amount of work that he has turned out, he said. Then when he if we try to the works of Shankara, one is we have seen the Shankara Digvijayam. Shankara Digvijayam going around every village. Imagine visiting all the temples, reviving all the temples, every place where he used to go in the village with all his disciples walking. There used to be a Grama Sabha, and he will address all the members of the village and talk to them greatness of our culture, how should they should conduct their life, and even worship also in the temples. He standardized the Panchayatana Puja, that is having the 5 idols, the Vishnu, Shiva, Ganapati, Shakti, and Lord Sun is supposed to be invoked. There will be a unity. This is Panchayatana Puja, which has been initiated by Shankara, so that there can be a unity amongst our entire Hindu folk. And the work you try to, what he has done is, the first, his works can be divided into 3 aspects. One is commentary, the Bhashyas that he has written, Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras. It is a greatest task to interpret the most technical terms and the difficult terms, toughest terms, to make available easily to understand all people. He has done the greatest. Then he has composed Prakarana Granthas. Prakarana Granthas, an ordinary sadhak who wants to study, what happens is he will not be able to understand the difficult concepts of the scriptures. Therefore, for him to know the terminologies and the concepts used in the scriptures, Prakarana Granthas, there are about 32 Prakarana Granthas which he has composed. It is like introductory texts starting with Tattvabodha, basics of our culture. If a person wants to understand what is God, what is individual, what is Jagat, no, everything, what is Maya, what is, no, the disciplines part of it, everything very simply he has, in a simple way, he has made people to understand. 32 books he has written, composed. And in addition to that, if you look at that, stotrams, number of stotrams, whatever we have, if you take any Stotramala book, 90% of the stotrams are composed by Bhagwan Shankara. Be it on Vishnu, Lord Shiva. How many? Shivaparada Kshamapana Stotram. Shivaparada Kshamapana Stotram, no? 16 slokas he gives right from birth to death. What all the possible mistakes we are likely to commit at every stage. He says, he seeks the forgiveness of Lord Shiva. When it comes to the Sadhana Panchakam, 5 slokas, he has composed the entire technique of sadhana for anybody, be it a sadhak, an initial sadhak, or a greatest sannyasi, what sadhana he has to perform. So that way, many Meenakshi Panchakam, Ganesha Pancharatnam, anything that you take, there are so much light from, no, our Gurudev used to say, he is a spiritual general. And in his hands, the language Sanskrit could be molded, became plastic, and it could be molded into any shape, right from lilting tunes of Bhajagovindam to the tough prose poetry or anything prose. He could make use of that. That was the command over the language he had, and he could compose anything. That was the greatness of Adi Shankaracharya. Then the disciples part. The most important is he has 4 disciples. One is Padmapada, Sureshwaracharya, Hastamalaka, Totakacharya. How they came and became their disciples, it's something interesting for us to know. When he was in Kashi, when he first came to Kashi, many people became his disciples. One person by name Padmapada is Sadananda. He became Sadananda. He became his disciple. And he went with him to Badrikashrama. When he went with Shankara to Badrikashrama, one day Shankara was sitting and he was in the meditation, he was thinking about on the banks of the river. And on the other bank of Alkanda was this Sanandana. He was washing the clothes. Suddenly he called him. When he called him, he did not know that my Guru is calling. He did not even see the river was flowing. He walked over the river and came and met Shankara. And as he walked over the river, on the stepped his feet on the waters, there came one lotus to support his feet. That was greatness of Guru Bhakti he had. He did not even see that the waters were there. Therefore, he is called Padmapada. Because with that Guru Bhakti he had so much, he walked on the water without seeing, and every time he put the step, there came a lotus and supported his feet. Therefore, he is called Padmapada. That was the devotion he had. Another one is Mandana Mishra, who became his disciple, is Sureshwaracharya. He had greatest love for Shankara. He could save the life of Shankara from the Kalikas in Sri Salem forest. Then third is Hastamalaka. You know Hastamalaka in Sriveli village, when father brought and gave a son to him, and he could not even, he had not spoken one word for 12 years. When Shankara asked, he gave the reply 12 slokas, which is known as Hastamalaka, he is became. And of the lost, Totakacharya is something unique. There was one boy, a Brahmin boy in Sringeri. When he was there, he joined Shankara's team and he wanted to help him. He was a helper in his ashrama, cleaning the vessels, cleaning the clothes, and he was doing all work in the ashrama. It so happened, one day Shankara was taking the class, all the disciples were sitting and did not start the class. When he did not start the class, all of them were wondering why Guru has not started the class. Then he said, Giri has not come. All of them thought Giri is a servant. It is as good as a wall. You are talking to a wall. Whether he is there or not, what will he understand? Everybody felt and they said there is no need to wait for him. Then immediately Shankara made a sankalpa. He called Giri from his mind. He said, Hey Giri. And Giri was washing the clothes. He rushed and came to Shankara. As he entered at the doorstep, he stood at that and looked at his master, and 8 slokas he composed on the greatness of Shankara, that is known as Totakashtakam. And everybody was surprised that Giri, who had not spoken even a word, was a household servant at home, and he had got so much of knowledge. The devotion to the Guru was so much. If you are devoted to the Guru, anything can be achieved. That's what it meant. So that's how Totakacharya. And in the way in which the beauty of it, Shankara, how he revived, he established 4 mutts in 4 corners. One is the eastern side is Puri, and this is called as Govardhan Mutt. And there, the Acharya was, first Acharya was Padmapada. He was given Rig Veda as in charge. Rig Veda was in charge. And the Mahavakya, Prajnanam Brahma was given. On that they are supposed to meditate and protect Rig Veda and do. And Tirtham, the river which was there is Mahadadi, that is Bay of Bengal is the Tirtham. And Lord of that mutt is Jagannath, and Shakti is Vimala. This is how he established. And the people who come out as sannyasis, they will have the names ending with Vana or Arnava. From that name, you can know that they are from Puri Ashrama, Puri Mutt. And Brahmachari will have the name Prakasha. From the name, you will know which, mutt they are belonging to, and also which Veda they have mastered. This is how he gave. And at Sringeri, the south, you know, Sharada Mutt is the mutt. Aham Brahmasmi is the Mahavakya. This is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And Yajurveda was dedicated to him. Sureshwaracharya was the first Acharya. And Tirtha, you know, Tunga. And Chandramauleshwar is the deity, the Lord. And Shakti is Sharada. And then all the sannyasis who belong to that tradition will have the Saraswati. Our Chinmaya mission also belong to this tradition. Therefore, they have the name ending Chinmayananda Saraswati, Brahmananda Saraswati. So from the name, you know which tradition they belong to. And Brahmacharis will have Chaitanya. And Dwaraka, the west, Kalika Mutt, it's known as Kalika Mutt. Tattvamasi is the Mahavakya from Chandogya Upanishad, and Samaveda is their Veda. And Hastamalaka is the first Acharya. Gomati is the river. And Siddheshwara is the Lord. And Shakti is Bhadrakali. And Tirtha is Gomati river. And sannyasis ending the name with Tirtha. And brahmacharis will have the ending name with Swarupa. From that you can know that they belong to this Dwarka Mutt. Then the north was Jyotirmutt, Jyotirdham. Ayamatma Brahma is the Vakya. And Mandukya Upanishad is the Upanishad. Atharva Veda is the Veda they are supposed to guard. And Totakacharya is the first Acharya. Then Alakananda is the Tirtha. And Narayana is the Lord. And Shakti is Purnagiri. And Giri or Parvata is the name of a sannyasi's ending. Ananda is the Brahmachari. This is how he established and gave the Maha Anushasanam, how they should do. Each mutt supposed to dedicate themselves to particular Veda, protect them and do the studies, so that the entire am I audible?
Yes, yes, audible.
Yes.
We are listening.
Okay. So this is how he established the mutts. And in Kanchi, which is known as Shiva Kanchi and Vishnu Kanchi, he made Sri Chakra, the tantric yantra for goddess Kamakshi also. And he selected 7 places as important places of sacred places of our country. That is Ayodhya, Mathura, Dwaraka, and Kanchi, Haridwar, Kashi, and Avanti. 3 for Shiva, 3 for Vishnu, and 1 for both Shiva and Vishnu, that is Kanchi. So that's how he made the 7 cities. And that way, it is, I do not know whether I've been able to communicate. This is the mighty journey of that Master, the Avatara Purusha. And even what he has done, not even, 32 janmas are not sufficient to understand, leave alone. So that is, in those days, with no availability of the technological support and the modes of conveyance, he has gone around the entire country, visiting every village and meeting everybody and trying to revive all the temples. If at all you go to any of the remote places, you will see this temple is visited by Adi Shankaracharya. Such a great contribution to our culture, to revive the culture he has done. And really, we owe a lot to that great Mahatma. On this Jayanti day, at least let us try to. He brought out Advaita Siddhanta and made popular that non-dualism and his philosophy. So that way, to great Mahatma, we offer our prostrations, and if at all we prostrate and respect that Mahatma, is only to follow him in our life. Let our life be an example to reflect his glory as much as we can. So thank you for having given me an opportunity to express my few thoughts about that great Mahatma. I do not know whether I have conveyed it to the extent possible. Whatever little I have understood, I have conveyed it. Hari Om, thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you very much, Gupta Prabhuji, for giving us a vivid picture of the sacred times of Adi Shankaracharya. You brought the entire glory, the glorious story to our mind with your wonderful effort. Thanks very much, Prabhuji.
I thank you for having given me an opportunity to remember that great master.
Thank you very much.
Hari
Thank you
Om.
so much. Hari Om, Prabhuji. And
Hari Om. Hari Om.
thanks all for being part of this wonderful satsang. And it's very important, as Prabhuji mentioned, the Mahatma, the great Mahatma, who has done the colossal work, that amount of work that even more than 30 words cannot, make. So that is the glory, greatest glory of Adi Shankaracharya. So let us pray once again to the Jagat Guru, the Moola Guru of our Pavitra. Take a moment, sit with closed eyes, hands in mudra once again. We shall conclude with Shanti part. Deep inhalation. Om. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya sarvesham swastir bhavatu sarvesham shantir bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvagukamiv bandhanat mrityormukshiyamamrita. Join both the palms at the heart center त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं
द्रविणं
त्वमेव
त्वमेव
त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ